Thank you very much, Tom and Ara, for once again having us here at your beautiful home here in Lewiston. It's great to be here with all of you, and I'll be very brief. I was actually, someone said, well, geez, why would you want to give up a safe seat in Congress to come back and run for governor? And as a lot of you know, that it was a very difficult decision for me to make. Because I do love my job, and for those candidates who are running for my seat, I want to wish you the very best. We have a great group of candidates who are going to be running for the 2nd Congressional District. And it was difficult because I love what I'm doing, particularly on Veterans Affairs. We've done a lot of work for veterans over the last several years here in Maine and all across the country. But as governor, you can do a lot for veterans as well. And I love this state so much, it's worth the risk coming back to run for governor. Because I know I got the vision, I have the energy to move forward, and the experience. When you look at what's happening in Augusta today, the fact that the existing governor has refused to meet with Democrat leadership from the get-go, and since then it's been a pretty rocky relationship, but not only with Democratic leadership, but also Republicans. And if we're going to move this state forward in a positive direction, we need someone in Augusta who actually can work across the aisle to get things done. The interesting thing, you can do it without losing your moral compass, without giving up what you really believe in. And I refer back quite often the fact that when we had 17 Democrats, 17 Republicans, and 1 independent, we got a lot accomplished done with the evenly divided Senate. And the reason why we did was because Senator Rick Bennett, actually now he's a Republican Party chair of the state, he and I actually sat down and we worked things out. We always didn't agree, but quite frankly, we were able to agree on a lot more things. And what was really a telling story to me was Jim Case, who actually is a workers' comp lawyer here in Maine, works with a lot of the labor unions, came up to me at the end of the session and says, Mike, do you know that we accomplished more for the working people here in the state of Maine with an evenly divided Senate than actually we did when the Democrats controlled the Senate? And that says a lot, and that's primarily because we were able to sit down and work things out. When you look at Maine, Maine's best days are ahead of us, and as your governor, one of the first things that I definitely will do is expand access to health care for the 70,000 people, which this governor has refused to do so. Not only is that the right thing to do, it's the effective, cost-effective thing to do as well. And what really upsets me the most with that provision that the governor vetoed is that was one of the areas I held out for so long, me and a few of my colleagues in Washington, until we got that enhanced reimbursement rate for Maine care here in Maine. And Maine's one of 10 states that actually will benefit tremendously by it. Matter of fact, Maine will save over $600 million over a 10-year time frame by covering an additional 70,000 people, plus hospitals will receive additional $348 million over that same time frame. So it's a win-win all the way around. We save money, we cover more people, and it's the right thing to do.
I guess we lost her. So I guess we might not need it. The other thing I think we ought to do is, the other part of the Affordable Care Act requires states to establish exchanges. And what we're seeing now all across the country, those states that are actually participating in the exchange program, their premiums and their health care costs are actually going down. And this governor has refused to do so. So Maine is going to actually be stuck with whatever the federal government gives us as far as the exchange goes. So we have a lot of work to do, and I look forward to working with all of you here as well in that regard. On the last note, I know there's some candidates for other office, not only for the congressional seat, but for the state offices and municipal offices as well. First of all, I want to thank you for putting yourself out there. It's not easy to put yourself out there in front of the public. to answer their questions, to take sometimes their abuse. But it's something that's worthwhile. I spent 22 years in the Maine legislature with a lot of you here who've been in office before, and it can be a very rewarding experience being able to go to Augusta or in your local communities and actually pass laws or regulations that affects people here in Maine. And so I want to thank all the candidates who are here today who are running for re-election or running for office for the first time for your efforts, because that definitely will make a big difference having you there and fighting for issues important to you. So, thank you very much. And the last thing that I got to say before I leave, because I got a meeting up in Waterville, is, and I was asked this earlier as well by several of you, is this week we got a very big decision we're going to have to make. As you've been hearing, the whole issue with Syria, and it's a complicated issue. Monday we're going to have a security briefing with the administration to see what they have to say that they're not able to talk about publicly, but it's a very difficult decision. I know Shelley and I and the two senators will have to make, because that decision that we make could have ramifications, not only short-term, but long-term, for this country. And it's not going to be as easy as they're going to go in and do a strike, because that strike will have repercussions, and we don't know what those repercussions will be. In the back of my mind, every time I have to make a tough decision on this, we can look at our national security issue, number one, but also what effect it's going to have on the men and women who are wearing the uniform. I've been to Walter Reed several times, and I've seen soldiers from Maine at Walter Reed with loss of limbs, seen what's happening to the family structure with traumatic brain injury, post-traumatic stress. So these decisions are very serious decisions, and the long-term ramification of those decisions are also extremely difficult. It's not the initial cost of the war, it's that ongoing cost. Just one example is Harvard did a study last year that said in order to take care of the soldiers from Iraq and Afghanistan over their lifetime, it's going to cost this nation between $4 to $5 trillion to take care of their needs. Because unlike Vietnam War or World War II, they're living, but they're living because of the protective gear, which is a good thing, but they're living with a loss of limb, traumatic brain injury, post-traumatic stress. So there are a lot of issues we got to consider in this whole Syria vote. So I know Shelley and I will be listening very attentively and asking out questions to the administration during that security briefing. So once again, I want to thank you all for your support over the years. Look forward to the ongoing, hopefully, support I can receive from you, because we can win this race. We can win it. I need